Hello, we are here.
Hi,
Hello,
everybody.
we are here for another live broadcast of Business Development TV Trinidad and Tobago. Today's topic is around stories to grow your brand loyalty, and the reason why brand loyalty is more important than brand reputation. Because when your customers are loyal to you, guess what? They buy from you. Versus
Exactly.
the brand reputation is all about how you, the company, see yourself in the marketplace. Versus with today's digital world, in digital and social media, nobody really cares about brand reputation. Nobody really cares about how good your brand looks. All they care about is how your brand makes them feel. All right.
Mhm.
That's the angle of brand loyalty. And that's where profitable social media is going to be. And that's why we are talking about stories. All right. So, what do
Definitely.
us marketers, Christopher, Bernadette Chenley, and Hilary De Freitas like to talk about is that we reverse engineer everything. We listen to you, we put your goals in front of you, and we work backwards to the small action steps that are going to get you what it is
Well,
that you want.
mhm. Starting with the end in mind.
Start with the end in mind. Reverse engineer works.
Engineering.
It really works
Yes.
because it
Mhm.
breaks down what it is that you need to do to get you there. So
Mhm.
if brand reputation is really what you want and what you want to protect, um, what we really want to tell you is that brand loyalty is not a derivative of brand reputation. All right. Brand loyalty is putting the customer in mind. What are you protecting when you think of, when you, the brand manager, is constantly thinking of brand reputation? You are protecting
The image of the
yourself,
company.
you're
Mhm.
protecting the image of the company, you are thinking that the customer and social media wants to
Mhm.
sabotage what you've built for the last 20 years.
Right.
And social media,
Mhm.
yes, they want to do that. And so stay tuned and we'll tell you how to handle
Handle
those
it.
negative people because
Exactly.
everybody wants to complain these days. Let them complain, all right?
Mhm.
But you have to go through and decipher who the real complainers are in terms of if you take care of them,
Mhm.
will they be happy? Or
Exactly.
if you take care of them, will they continue misbehaving and complaining and
Mhm.
complaining?
And become
Those
trolls.
Yeah, and all they want is discount or
Yeah.
a total refund and they keep the product. I mean, like, otherwise everybody
Mhm.
be out of business if that's what we have to do. So that's not what we're talking about. We're not talking about giving them back the money and letting them keep the a product so that they could keep quiet.
Mhm.
That's not
Not what we're talking
brand
about.
reputation that we're talking about. So
Yeah. The
anyway,
brand.
Hillary,
Yeah.
take
So the
us
brand.
through how a brand manager should handle a negative or a complaint on social media.
Yeah, so definitely this is a always a for companies it's always a sticky point because they don't want the negative comments on their post or whatever. And really what you need to do is it is your space, right? And this is something actually it's a controversial topic for social media managers because some people are yes, go ahead and hide and delete it, and then others are like, well, engage with them and talk to them. All you're going to do is fuel the fire if you're engaging with them right there on what they're commenting negatively on, right? Especially if it's a post
So what
where
you're saying
you
is
have a
on the
Mhm.
page itself, you're saying not to engage with them.
That would be my recommendation. Don't engage with them on the page. What you do
Right.
is you actually have to acknowledge right there and then, right, on the post, acknowledge, say, I totally understand how you're feeling, or something like that, to acknowledge, relate to them, and then you take it offline. So social media, it's great because right there and then you could hit a message button, you could ask them to message the page, you could leave a phone number right there for them, because they're obviously active and engaged on social media. So they will get the information, all right? Messaging directly from you, the page, you, the business owner, is always great because it demonstrates to the complainer, oh, you've heard me. Most complainers just want to be acknowledged, all right? Most of
Yes.
them. It's not that there's anything so drastically wrong that the entire world is crumbling down because of whatever your business did. But they
Well,
want
let's
to
say
be
90%.
acknowledged.
90% of your buyers, your customers want to
To be
just get good service,
they
to
just
be
want to be
acknowledged,
acknowledged.
and to have their complaint addressed.
Addressed, exactly.
The
So you
10%
have
looking
to,
pretty free. All right,
yeah,
let's just
and
that's
we
the
call,
reality.
yeah, and we call those social media trolls. And definitely, when you identify a troll, it is to be ignored. All right, I don't go into any arguments with trolls on social media. I literally hide, delete, ban, full stop. All right, but if it's
Yes,
really a true customer complaint, acknowledge it right there. And then you send them a direct message or ask them
yes,
to call you. All right. Put
yes.
your
Take
information
the
there.
conversation, take the conversation
Off
offline,
social
right?
media.
Which is what we used to do before. In when before internet, you would
Yes.
call them up, or they would call
Mhm,
you, and you would be accessible.
mhm.
So
It's
brand
just that.
loyalty
Mhm,
is around how you deal with customers. I mean,
yes.
and that's a positive. It's a bank deposit, all right? Because brand loyalty is how you, the brand manager, have or allow your customers, your loyal customers, to feel around your brand. All right, that's how we want to for you to think of. Um, Instead of thinking of brand reputation, think of brand loyalty. Think of how am I going to get my regular customers truly loyal to my brand,
To your
and you're
brand.
going to do that by major issue is by quickly responding to complaints and making sure that the customer who has the complaint is dealt with quickly, and two, that the public, the audience that has witnessed the engagement on the social page,
The dialogue, yes.
yeah, that they see that you care about their
Mhm,
customers, because that's what
mhm,
they want to see, that the
mhm.
customer who had the complaint is taken care of,
Yeah,
because they
exactly.
also see themselves in that situation. So if you
Exactly.
don't respond to the complaint, then they're going to say, oh, see, they really don't care.
They didn't really
And
care.
yeah,
Yeah.
okay.
That is a good point, that some people, they just reach out to that individual. And what we have to recognize on social media, because it's public and it's not just about that one person, even though it
Yeah.
is, you have to recognize that in your actions, you are also helping all the other people who are going to be viewing and following you. They are now seeing, oh, this is, the company that cares, not just the
Yes.
company that leaves things hanging in the open air, like so many companies that we've seen.
Yes.
Calling
Customer care is not that difficult, but you do need to assign somebody to do
Mhm,
it, not
mhm.
just haphazardly pay
Yes.
attention to it.
Sure.
And
Within
another
every
thing,
every 24, every 12 hours, somebody should be
12
checking.
hours. And as we were talking about that, in terms of pages allowing people to make comments on their page, what do you think about that? Because
Allowing.
most pages block it. You have the choice. Facebook
Mhm,
gives you the permission or the
mhm,
choice to allow comments, people to post on your page
mhm.
or not. What do you
So,
think about that?
and that's the visitor post you're referring to, or is it the actual
Correct,
comment?
because
Right. So,
people can come onto your page, and the 10% of the people who don't know how to be nice and how to respect your page, because they do it to me, they
mhm.
come to my page and they post their advertisement. I'm
Yes.
like,
And
really?
those and this is why for many, and I mean, I'll be perfectly honest, there are few people that I've worked with where they have turned that feature off. You could comment on what I've posted,
Yeah.
and you could make comments, right? But you can't come in there and just post whatever you want. Now that's a it's kind of like a double-edged sword. I always say it depends on
Yes.
your business. It depends because that gives a certain level of openness and, well, not it gives the impression, I guess, that you are open to hear and have an even deeper conversation. But in doing that, what you're doing is opening up to trolls who just using your audience for um
Yes.
for their gain. All right.
But many companies have actually gained from being from having that level of
Of
transparency.
transparency, yes. I did
And
not
and,
I
and it's
did not use
all with
that word necessarily, but it is
but
that
that's what
level where,
Facebook is using. So that's
yeah.
why I'm using the word, because Facebook is encouraging pages to be
Mhm.
transparent.
Yeah.
Encouraging, because that's how we minimize the, what you call it, the fake news. And we're
Well,
all totally
yes.
fed up of fake news, and we don't know who's real, who's not
Not
real.
real,
But
yeah.
the more transparent a page is, um, 1 second. Sorry, can you mute me? How do I?
Yes. Hold on, let me wait. How do I mute you? There we go. Right. Okay. Yes. The more transparent a page is, you're able to raise the bar almost. I think that's what Bernie was going through, right? In terms of transparency. Do you unmute you now? There? Ready?
Yeah.
Okay, good.
Okay. All right.
Right.
Um.
So they're different. They're still different schools of thought, and sometimes what opening your page to visitors' comments does is it makes your page not all about you, which is good.
Yes. And that takes us into the next point of building good brand loyalty around your brand.
Yeah.
Um. When you allow people to make comments on your page, and it's not about you only, your brand and your products and what you sell, you actually get more engagement on your page. You actually open a channel to allow customers to give you feedback freely, and you want to use that openness to massage good clients, good customers to be talking on your page. And in particular, I am referring to people like DSW and fashion companies, international fashion companies in
Mhm.
particular, took this stand from the very beginning because they knew that people who love fashion, people who love shoes,
Oh my
love
goodness.
to show off their shoes and their fashion. All right. And when they do that, they're actually showcasing you, the brand. All right. So, yes, Hillary talked about according to what it is that you sell.
Mhm.
Of course, if it is like you're an insurance company or you're how you call it, a complicated service, then it's difficult to have that level of transparency. But when people love to talk about what they buy from you, definitely open up your channel,
Yeah.
and that way, yes, you're showing transparency, and you're also getting their engagement on your page, and and what you're doing is that it's an easy way to get high engagement on your page.
Yes. Very
Now, the
easy.
typical brand manager would want to say, I only want images, videos, GIFs on my page that has to do about me.
Mhm.
I only want me on my page. It is my page, and it's your right to
Mhm.
say that, do that.
Yes.
But when you do that only, um, you're not talking to the whole person. Let's say, for instance, you sell green juice, and all you talk about is green juice and vegetables and green leaves and Sorry, I don't like green juice, but it's okay. Um,
Neither do I.
Cucumbers and celery, and people tend to get bored because that person who loves your green juice also likes makeup, and they also like green shirts. They also like going to the beach. So you need to open up your content that you're putting on your page, and that's where we talk about talking to your audience as a complete person.
Person,
All right.
exactly.
So
And not just about your product. So yes, definitely.
so lots of people want engagement, but they don't want to do what's going to get them engagement. Now, protecting your brand reputation is like having a tunnel of vaults that protects you and separates you from your customer. Okay, do you want the gap between you and your customer? If that's what you want, then you protect your brand reputation.
Yes.
Speaking on social media, it's about the fans. It's not about you. All right. So if you want to speak to your fans and talk to your fans, if you're the one who wants to be doing all the talking and all the speaking, all right, and the controlling of what is on your page, then it's like you're here and you're speaking with a megaphone, and they are actually putting their headphones on and they're ignoring you, and that's when you're going to get crickets on your page. And yeah, exactly. Put your headphones on. All right. And watching mentions only is great, but why are you watching mentions? What are you going to do about your mentions? All right. Yes, in the old days, I would say in the old days, only very few crazy marketers started with the concept of you need to do more listening than speaking. But in today, 20 years later of social media, more marketers are saying you need to do more listening and less speaking.
Yes.
All right. And those companies who listen to the crazy marketers, the one with the great ideas, they're the ones who are actually doing well.
Well, because
So it is,
listening,
yeah.
yeah, as you said, listening doesn't only involve the mentions, right? Because yes, okay, your company was mentioned here, and it's good to monitor those things. I think of mentions not only as listening, but it's more like monitoring, right? That's monitoring to see where your company is at. But listening is seeing where your fans, where your followers, where your customers are at, and what do
Mhm.
they want. All right. So if your customers are talking about orange juice and you keep posting about green juice,
Green juice, yes,
and you are
you're
not
losing customer.
listening,
Yeah,
exactly,
yeah.
right? Because on a like, and it starts slowly. You could be posting about your green juice, and somebody comments on one of your green juice posts, well, what about yellow juice and orange juice and red juice? And you keep posting about your green juice because you failed to listen,
Mhm.
right? The people who get excited about things are the people that you want to almost feed that excitement, because then they're going to be
Yes,
like, ah, look, they've got a new thing, they've got this,
yes.
and they're going to
Try
start
this one.
talking.
It's also great. Yes,
Exactly.
yes.
Right.
And that's
So
what we
you
talk
got,
about pivoting. A lot of people use the word pivot, but
mhm,
they're ignoring where the easy pivots are,
is exactly the easy
right?
pivots are
So that's an easy pivot.
your customers and your fans are telling you where to pivot to. Just
Yes,
listen.
yes. Cool. All right. So companies have
Stories.
a culture, right?
Mhm.
Getting back to stories. Companies
Yes.
have a culture. Especially say for instance you're at least 10 years old, you have a culture. For companies who are 100 years old, you have a culture.
Ooh.
You have history. You have memories in your customers' brains. All right. You can use those memories to tell stories, to build back brand loyalty, to, like for instance, Hilary and I spent the weekend together this weekend, and we were talking to their children about, do you know how your mother and father met? And they're like, no. It's like, you need to know that. All right. So in the same sense, because children look at us, the adults, and they think that we were always adults. It was too funny that children, my child, when I picking them up from school, they're like, okay, see you tomorrow. And I telling them, yes, we need to leave because auntie wants to go home. And in their brain, they arrive at school and she's there. They leave and she's there. So in their brain, they think auntie lives there, right? So we have to tell them the story of when we were young, because they look at us, the adults, and think that we were always adults, that we have no memory, no stories of being children. Okay, so we have to give them those stories, and that's the beginning of them turning you, their mommy and daddy, into a hero. You know, that's just part of it. One of the secrets of
But
being a hero for your child.
as you were talking about stories, I remembered, as you said it, and in terms of, you know, a company that's been in existence for 100 years, and instantly my mind flashed to when I was younger. My mom bought me this big book. It was, I don't know what year it was, what celebration it was. It was a thick, yes, it was big to me because I was small, and it was
right.
and it was really long and wide. I don't know if you have it, but it was Barclays Bank at the time.
Barclays Bank, okay.
Right? They're now Republic, but it was Barclays Bank, and they were going through the history and they were showing you images.
150 years.
Yes. And they were showing you the images. And that's what we mean by that story, that journey, that even though maybe today you may not be happy with Republic Bank, but when you're looking back at the nostalgic images, you know, when you see these black and white images of the buildings, for somebody like me who's never lived in that time, right?
It gives you appreciation.
It gives you an appreciation for where the company has come from and where they could possibly be heading. All right. And the story, when you take your customers along that journey, right? You bring it back to their memory. And those are the stories that really connect with customers. Because, I mean, yeah, I'm not a Republic Bank customer. You are, right? But that
and we're still friends.
And we're still friends. Exactly. Look at that. But that book is a story, right? Now, obviously, for whatever time it was made. But today you have an easier way of sharing those stories with your customers. It's called.
So there you go. We just gave Republic Bank like a massive way to capitalize on their story. You know, if you have 150 years of history, share it.
Share it.
You know,
it's not hard.
Share it.
Yes.
So
and for
anyway,
those who have 1 year of history,
yes.
who have 1 year of history, you share your journey, right? You share what you have overcome. You share, you know.
Share your challenges.
Yes, your challenges.
But you kind of share your challenges after you have broken through to the other side.
Yes,
okay?
Exactly.
So if you go into the market and you're only seeing oranges and you're only seeing sapodilla and you can't find the ingredients for your green juice, you know, after you've figured out your supplier for your green juice ingredients, then definitely share your challenge. But after you have broken through whatever it is that the challenge, share that story. All right. And that tells people how committed you are to being there selling green juice.
Yes.
All right. You share with them the commitment that you make every morning to make fresh green juice for your customers, and you're taking care of their body, and how passionate you are in taking care of their body. All right. Unfortunately, I'm not there yet, but that's okay. All right.
That's
Now,
great juice.
going to small businesses who are at least 5 years old,
Mhm.
what kind of stories, what best shares, what kind of stories should they be sharing?
The journey, well, I mean, I call it the journey, but it's more, if you are product based, then it's around how you develop that product. All right, your small
Yeah.
story. It's around how, and a lot of people be like, well, KFC is not giving away their secret to chicken, but you're not really giving it away, because a story is such a small part and you're just giving a little snippet of how you make your product, right? And the reality is, how you make your product may not be a secret. So it's not like you're giving away the secret, but you're kind of like, giving a little bit of a little tip, a little, because even if I watch those stories or those videos about how to bake the chocolate cake with avocado, it still comes out bad. It never looks like you know what the image or the video actually created. So don't be afraid to share those little pieces of how you do what you do, how you get to your product.
And even if, for instance, you haven't been able to make that major step into sharing your little part of how you produce your product, you
Mhm.
can turn it to the people who are in the office making the product
Mhm.
or
Yeah.
putting the product together.
Mhm.
Make it real is what we're saying. So
Yes.
but if you're looking for what is it called it, ideas and advice on how to turn your stories, how to turn your history into brand loyalty, definitely reach out to Hillary and I,
Mhm.
and we'll see what we can do for you. All
Yes.
right. Because most of the times, because businesses are focused on their product and they're so busy protecting their product and what we call protecting your IP and protecting what you call it, the logo, the royalty, those things. We help you to look beyond
That.
what it is that you have to protect and really pay attention to what the customer wants. All right. And that is your bridge, your jumping start, your starting ground of going in the right direction to build brand loyalty. And with brand loyalty comes more sales.
Sales.
Brand loyalty is going to give you sales. Brand reputation will not necessarily give you sales, because brand reputation is all about me.
Yeah.
And the customer who's buying, if they see you as being selfish, uh, they're going to pivot. The customer is going to pivot very quickly
Away
when they
from.
see a competitor step into the marketplace. All
Exactly.
right. So brand loyalty is what matches with social media and social and online ads and YouTube ads and whatever other ads that you're putting out. Brand loyalty is what you should be working toward. All right. I think that's a wrap.
Yep, that is. So thank you for joining us this week again for our BDTVTT.
BDTVTT, Business Development TV, Trinidad and Tobago, with Hillary, the marketing mom, and Bernard Cheney, WSI Trinidad and Tobago.
Have a great day, everybody. See you next week.